So we're back. Your dad came.
Yep.
Pick up on that story. You didn't answer. How did that conversation go?
Oh, my dad, but I have this information that what I'm doing is not going to send me to hell. I'm just pushing off to the side. I'm just like, well, but I'm looking at it. Dad, you're being hateful to me. You're being nasty. You're being horrible, and you're being mean. And if you loved me, you would not be treating me like this. But I'm not opening up my Bible. I'm not praying. I'm not having that Christ-centered,
Mm.
not having that Christ-centered life.
Yeah.
I'm putting my feelings before God's feelings. And the Lord's feelings. I'm really not living a Christ-centered life.
But you were just holding on to, hey, it's okay.
Yeah,
It's okay.
right.
Because somebody told me it's okay.
Right.
So that conversation was a struggle.
Yes.
You go to court. You started down that path too,
Yes.
and your uncle was there with you.
Yes.
And then did your dad come? Did he?
Oh, yes. So my dad came with a handwritten letter from my sister, and one of my sisters, and then that document was several pages long. He came in with a handwritten letter with my dad's writing, and if you was to look at it, it would look like you put ink onto a chicken's feet and made it, and legitimately made it walk across the paper many times. His writing's it's far from good. Anyhow, but it's legible enough that you can, and that you can read it. How, I have no idea, by the pure guess and luck. But anyhow, so I'm in the room with in the room because they separate my dad and my dad's new wife at the time, because my mom passed away and they got married, and then my dad found somebody else and they got married. And I can't really say the proper title of my dad's wife because of my disfluency, as most of you all can probably tell by now. But and so he's with her, and so I'm in my own little room trying to calm down, trying to calm my nerve, trying to calm my anxiety and stuff like that. So we end up walking into the courtroom. My dad's there, and of course her, and then my uncle's in there, and he's in there trying to just to be there for me, not really protesting, and are not trying to get in the way between my dad and myself.
Sure.
He's just there just as emotional support, or just somebody that he can, or somebody that I can feel like I can go to that's close to me.
Sure.
And stuff. And so then the judge at the time, asked, who everybody was and how, or whoever is there, how they pertain to the case.
Sure.
And of course, my dad stands up and he does his, pretty much normally says his letter and stuff. Well, then, and he's crying in the courtroom because he knows what this is going down. And that he knows what this road I'm going down. And just how, or the possibilities of how destructive this is going to be. And as a parent, I can imagine, and I'm not a parent, but as a parent, I can imagine, if I felt that horrible about watching my dad be sad and just so horrified from what I'm doing, I can only imagine of how much anxiety my dad was facing.
Yeah.
And just how much harm he was feeling.
Which is a good point, isn't it? Because it's not just any of these decisions that we make in our lives. They're not just, we don't make them in a vacuum. They don't just affect us. They affect everybody. So many others, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they affect classmates, they affect teachers, they affect parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, even nieces and nephews. If however you got them, they affect your friends.
That's a good point. Like you're in there to change your name, but it's more than that. It's not just you. It's your sister. It's your dad. It's your family too. Yeah.
And so my sisters, and and I'm sure some of you might be asking, well, what did the sister write? Which my dad pretty much wrote, like, hey, like, I think this is wrong. My wife and I, and then my wife gave birth to our son, and we named it this, not this.
Yeah.
And, and that they are disgracing the family name and stuff like that. Well, my sister took a different approach, and she's a teacher. She went to college and stuff. And so she's going along the lines of everything in my past. So bringing up how I was taking clothing and that time at the high school, and stuff and and whatnot. And that, and that somehow, some way I was going to be, just as awful as it sounds, and I would never do this to anybody, but being like it's help. And to where I was going to sexually prey on children.
Mm-hmm.
That would never would cross my mind.
Yeah.
And stuff. And I watched a movie that was similar to that came out within the last, I think, 10 years. I watched it, was horrified from it, because the whole entire time I'm watching this movie, I'm crying because of what I remember this letter being. But the judge overlooked it. She talked to me and stuff, and which, okay, so to go back, so that was my sister's letter. But then she went on to my dad's wife. Well, she pretty much like, hey, I'm just here just to support my husband. Really nothing else to really say. This is who I am. So then she went to my uncle. My uncle got up, said, hey, I'm just the uncle. I'm just here just as an overall support for both parties, but mainly it's just to support, this young person who is just trying to live their life and just try to be happy and stuff like that. So, of course, then she goes to my attorney, asks for her credentials and make sure everything's legal that way.
Sure.
And stuff. Well, then she comes in. Then she looks over and talks to me. And her and I have about a 5-10 minute conversation within the courtroom. It's all public to the courtroom and stuff. And then she's like, all right, and one of my answer is that you're allowed to change the name. You're allowed to, I'm allowed to change my name. Well, my dad and her got up and stormed out of the courtroom and out of the courthouse. And in fact, I could hear the or as far as I can remember, could hear the courthouse doors slamming shut, which just completely startled me. And stuff. So she signed it, and she personally comes down, talks to me, gives me a hug, says, hey, I support you. It's just very, very brave of you to be doing this in a county that is very, very conservative.
Yes. Not progressive.
No.
Yes.
No, it's not like Columbus or LA or not like that, where it's more accepted and more normalized.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, in fact, I still have the paper that it would written. Wow. And as far as like the name change for the court date and everything.
How did that feel that night? How did you?
I was happy, but at the same time, I'm just petrified of whether my dad's going to come back to the house again. And this time, I don't know if he's going to bring some type of hammer or what,
So you were happy, but at the same time, fearful, worried, like feared loss there in the sense of what's this going to do to the relationship with my dad and sister and so on, right?
Yeah. Yes. So, so with that, also feel, fearful of having to face physical discipline from my father.
Mm.
Because of having to go out and get my own,
And you're 23 years old at that point, right? Yeah.
And which in fact, before I put the notice into the paper, I'm like, I'm gonna have to get a temporary restraining order from my dad because I don't know how this is going to affect him.
Sure.
And stuff. And she's like, well, no, and you'll be fine. Everything's gonna be okay. I don't think your dad's gonna do this. So I just proceed on and stuff. Well, when the court date came up, I'm like, hey, dad came here. And should we ask for a restraining order? No, I think he'll be. No, everything's done now. I don't think we need to really go for that.
But you're trying to figure this out. Your dad's trying to figure this out, right?
And he's also sorry, but he's also getting notifications from other community members of what was
what's going on with your son.
Yeah. And so he's having to answer these questions, not really knowing how to even really say it. Besides, he's just being dumb and stupid. And I didn't raise him up to be like this. Not like that,
Yeah. You've got some of your dad in you too, by the way. Well, I see that. I see that. So 2015, you changed your name. This is you turned it before that turned it up to 11, right? And then you move from that to surgery. Talk about that.
Surgery. So I first attempted to do bottom surgery because that was the most important to me. And because and I say back in the day, it was only like 10 years ago. But back then, even before I changed my name and before I came out, before I was adult, you could get, even to this day, but it's more modernized. And then they make it, they make them more realistic, but they make silicone boobs. And I'm not trying to be too open, but I just feel like as open as you can,
sure,
and stuff without saying foul language,
and
stuff. I'm just simple. Very to the point. Much as I can be,
sure,
but but the light that they make, like silicone breasts, like, well, if I can put one of them in, well, not one, but two of them in, and a one big plate, or and what they call, and like, then I can wear those and then have my surgery. Well, then I can go out with a bikini, or I can go out and look more feminine and stuff. Well, for me to do that, I had to be on hormones and or what they call HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy. So I had to be on that for about a year. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll go find a doctor down in Columbus, get away from get away from the county I'm living in and everything, and get out of the reach of people knowing where I'm going, why I'm going.
Sure.
They obviously would know why I was going there if I would be local, but just get out of the sight and people that are knowing. Well, and with that knowing our family, which my father knows a lot of people. And my mother knows a lot of people, and through the church, through FFA, through 4-H, through the fair, we know a lot of people. So it's not. So a lot of times, if I was to do something, would do something, 9 times out of 10, I would be getting a text message or a phone call when I'm driving around town.
What are you doing? Why are you doing that?
Right. Well, like, hey, and Bob seen you going down there to the, I'm down to the parts store. Is your truck okay? well, yeah, but I didn't go to the parts store, but next door was a thrift store, or across the road was the thrift store, whatever. I would park up the truck store parking lot, make it look like I'm getting truck parts, going to upgrade my truck or, and stuff like that. But we went across the road to the and get to go to the thrift store, or I would, park there and then meet up with somebody because I'm buying clothes off of, buying clothes off of, local people that didn't know us and stuff, and so forth. So I'm doing these random things, but then I'm getting text messages like, well, I need to get out of here. I need to either stop this before, I'm getting more trouble and whatnot. So I go down there, I get a doctor, I get onto hormonal replacement therapy, which they need, so many months of therapy, saying, hey, like this is what I really want. I'm in the clear, I'm in the clear head of thinking that, that this is really what I want to do. I know the repercussions of what I'm about to do and stuff. And, and of course, you just have so many, therapy sessions. And a lot of times you can, somebody could make up a whole bunch of things. And oh yeah, well, I want to be a female. And where I'm going with this is like human traffickers and people who really out to harm children. And, and stuff like that could and probably had ultimately tricked a therapist into saying, oh yeah, well, I need to get on therapy and stuff like that. And they get online and they buy these fake breasts and they get all these clothing and stuff. And then they're allowed to go into the women's bathroom, especially if they change their name, change their sex marker on their license and stuff like that. Well, then police really can't touch you. But at the same time, I didn't want to get into that predicament of getting the police called saying, oh, well, why is it was walking across and walking past the, and, and, and the bathroom stall and this person is going to the bathroom, but they're standing up.
Sure.
Or, or I was in the next stall and they were going to the bathroom, but the shoe was facing the wrong way.
Wow. Yeah.
And and or, I was in the, and, I took my daughter into the handicapped stall and all of a sudden my phone dropped. Well, now I could be saying, oh, well, I'm trying to take pictures and take videos.
Sure.
Never happened. Never would do that. Like I would never play with my phone. Would never play with my pictures while going to the bathroom.
Sure.
But have I been in the women's bathroom? Yes. Yeah, and stuff like that. So I did open myself up to those. And open myself up to those problems. But I would always try to watch if I had to be in that spot. Normally, I would try to go to the bathroom before I left, or go find, or if I was out and about, I would try to find a porta pot.
Sure.
Where I wasn't opening myself up to this. It's just, especially at the beginning stages of my transition. Where I didn't have, and, to where I didn't have the amount of hair that I do now, or did have even, because hormone and that replacement therapy was slowing down my hair growth and stuff. So I could shave one time a week and be good. Now I can't hardly go without a day without shaving. Before it looks, like I've got some part of a beard and stuff, let alone leg hair, armpit hair, arm hair, and chest hair, back hair, and however, and stuff. So, so in the beginning stages, until all that really caught up and got going in my system, and I got and I was getting enough of a dose to where it was really slowing down the hair growth and would really, I'm allowing things to form and things like that. So I would always try to find somewhere more private to go to,
sure.
To go do a private business.
Sure.
And stuff. But as my transition had gone through, and I ended up moving down to Columbus, where it's more accepted, and I'm not around people that I know all the time, at least, and stuff. Then I was more able to feel more comfortable going into the women's bathroom without having to be clocked, is what they call it. It's clocked, it pretty much being like, are they really male or are they really female? And then they start getting into the whole question of what's between your legs.
Okay.
Well, I don't know about you, but I really don't want to be trying to undress myself in front of the bathroom.
Sure.
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 Especially and just say, hey, well, my license says this, but down here doesn't match that.
Sure.
I don't
Sure.
want, and I've never been in that situation. And unless I haven't been, because I didn't want to ever be marked as a trafficker or,
Sure.
or some type of offender, not like that. And I would never do that, but still, people open up themselves to open themselves up to litigation. I can't say that. Yeah. And stuff to open up themselves up to that possibility.
So you kind of flee your surroundings because it makes it easier to kind of, in a larger city, larger community, more accepted, to kind of live out this lifestyle that you are feeling led toward transitioning to. You've had how many surgeries at that point?
So I didn't have surgery until I was in Columbus.
Okay.
But I highlighted my plates into where I had fake breasts and stuff like that.
Okay.
And had more clothing that revealed them and stuff like that. Stuff.
You're on the hormone therapy, replacement therapy, the HRT, and moving towards that direction.
Yes.
Full on at this point. Are you having you talk to your dad?
I
off and on.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't hardly go see him. I don't hardly go see the family.
And you're living in Columbus now too.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm not hard. Well, and at the time I'm single as a Pringle, and still to this day it still holds true.
Single as a Pringle.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And weren't really in a relationship.
No. With that, but wasn't really pursuing after God.
Yeah.
I still have my faith and my childhood background of going to church and stuff like that. Wasn't against the church.
But you had this thought, hey, I've been told it's okay. I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
If everybody else doesn't get it, so be it. This is the direction. Did you ever struggle with sex addiction at all?
Like pornography, yes, but it wasn't really
so this really wasn't, and I wasn't trying to cut you off, man.
Yeah.
But like this really wasn't about, for you, it wasn't about same-sex attraction, like a sexual, feeling of attraction towards whatever. This was more really about you saying, I felt like I am in the wrong body.
Correct.
Okay.
And so, to easier terminology, well, not really terminology, but more like definitions.
Okay.
And this is where a lot of people lose their understanding. They're like, well, why would you want to go and have the surgery? Well, it's not about the mutilation. It's not about that. It's more about like what you said. I felt like I was physically in the wrong body with the sex that was assigned.
Sure.
So in a sense, for even the listeners, I was trying to change the way I would outwardly appeared as I went to bed, not to match a sexual desire or to have a fetish towards who I went to bed with.
Yeah.
But at the same token, people also have the misunderstanding of, well, if you wanted to be a woman, well, when you want to be with men? No. I have a desire to be with women, and even to this day, I have a desire to be with women, So I have a desire to be, and so who I identified with is not the same as a person I would
Okay.
go to bed with. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, because there's going to be a lot of people watching this that they don't really understand, right?
Right.
So helping them kind of understand that because there's a big there was a transition happening. So I thought about that kind of today, thought about your life, Steven. There was a transition that happened. Excuse me. I want to say it this way.
Yeah.
There was a transition that was happening, and then there was a transformation that came.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think and a lot of people in their life, we all want different.
Yes.
But maybe we don't even know what different we really want or need in our lives too.
Right.
So you'd had surgery, one surgery only?
No.
2?
Overall, it was 3 surgeries.
3 surgeries.
And this you might find comical. So when I went to go for the initial consultation to get onto the books with the surgery, and to get the implants, because I went with trying like 2 or 3 different times. One time I had Medicaid because I wasn't really making much money and I was able to qualify for Medicaid. Well, when Medicaid was able to pay for the surgery, I didn't know that. And because at the time when I got accepted, my surgeon was leaving the practice. So then I'm like, well, shoot, what am I going to do now? I've been on hormone replacement therapy. I'm going to a therapist for numerous years at this point, or at least a year and a half, 2 years. What am I going to do now? I don't know where the surgeon went to. I don't know if he just got fired and lost his license, and they just said he just left the practice. Which, if he was fired and lost his credentials, in a sense, he did leave the practice.
Sure.
But just didn't understand where or what happened. Well, I found out later, once I was able to find him again, I was able to be qualified, and that the insurance was actually going to pay for the surgery. Well, I found the surgeon. Well, now my insurance don't cover it. I can't do it, and so forth. I had, so this went on for like 3 or 4 times. Eventually, I'm like, hey, enough. If I can't do this, it's not what God intended for me. And I'll try it again, but just not right now. So I'm like, well, if I can't do below, I'll do up top. And try that. Well, I ended up getting private insurance. Private insurance paid for it. They had to put in expanders, what they call it, and stuff. So it's pretty much like a refillable implant.
Okay.
And so they pretty much go in and they put this expander in, and then then they sew you up, and then they expand it just a little bit, just not much, but just a little bit, and then they send you home.
So you had the surgery. You've had a total of 3.
Yes.
And your last surgery was in what year?
I want to say 2020.
21?
Yeah,
maybe?
I would say probably 2021.
Now, I find it really interesting too that you've got and at that point you're not seeing your family very much.
No.
You're kind of on your own in Columbus, following after what you feel like you need to do. But I find it very interesting. You said something there that's really interesting to me. I couldn't do the one surgery, and I felt like, well, maybe that's not what God wants me to do.
Yeah.
So even in the midst of all that, there was still this tug in your heart that was, I feel this way. I think I've been told it's okay.
Yep.
But I'm not sure.
Right.
Maybe it's not what God wants me to do.
Yeah.
And so when did you all of a sudden, all of a sudden, now I learned about you. I guess that was in 24, maybe I would think
23, I think.
23, 23.
Because, well, actually, was it 24? Because this year was 25 for the mission trip, and for the year before that was 2024. And that's when the team leader of the mission trip came to you and stuff like that.
24. Yeah. So I didn't know you, didn't know any of your story.
Right.
And so is that from 21 to 2024? You all of a sudden, though, did you come back to town and start? Okay.
Well, yes and no. So, okay. So let me back up in a little time, a little bit more. So I just had her surgery. I go home. I am with somebody, but really not really good.
Wasn't a good relationship.
Yeah. I mean, at the time, they was helping me and I was helping them. They was dealing with a lot of mental health. And even to this day, I think that there still are. I don't talk to them no more, but, and whatnot. But, and so, I mean, so they're helping me with my surgery, and not necessarily my surgery, but my recovery and so forth. So, so I go, I mean, so I'm, laying around the house for, I think the first day or two, and then I start really getting up and moving around. And not really doing much, but getting up and going cooking and doing a little bit of house cleaning and trying to take care of myself even. And whatnot. And where I can actually lay down in bed, not lay in a recliner. Because when they cut muscles and stuff, you lose. I mean, it hurts from going I want to where you're horizontal to where you're vertical again.
Sure.
It hurts. And so forth. So I'm in recovery, go back and, and I mean, and everything's good. I'm good to, I'm good to go into the shower now. Just really I mean, so I'm dabbing, and dabbing myself, but not really taking a full blown shower, but I definitely cannot do a bath at the moment. So I go through that, and I mean, so about a month after the surgery, I began my employments to go get them filled up more and more, and to expand and stuff, and to actually go back and to begin the process of completely stretching my skin to open up a void for the implants and stuff. And I can go, to where to where a person can go in and are able to get the size that they're and that they desire, and then they can stop and let everything settle down and stuff like that. So I'm doing those things. Well, all of a sudden, the one side busts. It doesn't all of a sudden bust. It just leaks out real quick. So so the one day so I'm going home and I let down once a little bit deflated. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. It didn't get filled up enough, or or something like that, or they're just off. Don't pay much attention to it. And about an hour or so, I am home and and I'm home and I'm looking down. I'm like, that's really more. So I called the surgeon up. I said, I think the one is leaking real bad. So so well, just hang on. We'll see you next week or whatever. Or we'll see you in a week or two and we'll figure out what's going on. So I'm lurking at the times. I'm trying to even out the void with socks and stuff like that young teenagers, I've heard, do and stuff, and to help look more symmetrical and stuff and whatnot. Being a tow truck driver, kind of hard when you're moving your arms around, laying down, getting up and rolling around and stuff like that, trying to hook and unhook cars and trying to dodge cars alongside the freeways and stuff like that. It's hard to try to keep everything packed in and stuff. I'm trying to do that away from the customers and stuff like that, so that way, there's no issues with the management nor with the customer and whatever. So, And so I go in and they're like, it's leaking and stuff like that. So we do and so by this time I'm like a month away from my actual surgery for the implants, or like just a couple months or something like that. It was so she said, well, we can keep doing it. Like every day or like every 2 days, we can go in and fill it up, and and that way you keep your size and stuff, and we can try to even out, but it's just be a little bit more tighter whenever you have your surgery, or we can go back in and replace it, and then you can go through that recovery, and that way everything's set for when you have your implants. I said, well, let's do that. That way I'm not having as much problems on one side or the other. So I had the second surgery. Well, the second surgery, I come home and I decided to rearrange the living room. I'm not supposed to do that. Nobody's supposed to come home and rearrange the living room that next day. So I'm moving this big sofa and stuff like that. Probably doing more harm than I am good. But that's what I did.
Sure.
And I'm like my dad. I am very, very, very bullheaded. I'm very stuck in my ways, and throughout my entire life, I've always been this way. That if I have my heart and my mind set on something,
it's done.
It's done. Like and like there's no mountain I'm not going to move out of my way to get to it. And so so I moved the sofa and stuff, and so I think like a month or two goodbye, and I go back in for my third surgery for the actual implants. And so, I don't rearrange the living room this time, but am able to get up and move around and don't have as much problems and stuff like that. Well, on the third surgery, a month prior, I lost my job. At that time, I'm trucking with a semi. So I lost my job. I'm like, well, I can't hardly get get another job and then take off another month, or under 2 weeks. Once I'm hired, I can't take off for a month for recovery. The longest story shorter, I lose my job. I have the surgery. I eventually get another job trucking, but as I'm gaining a job, I'm losing my place, and so I lose my house. Actually, no, let me back up. I am sorry. So I lost, so I lost my job, had the surgery. I end up talking with another female, and in a different state, end up moving down there to her place, and I'm down there for about a year.
Okay.
And I'm, and I'm about 6 months in, and it's getting to the point where I need to be an adult and actually have a job, helping her with her little side gigs. And she's having health problems, and things are kind of declining. The income's not coming in like it was. So I'm going out and getting another job. Well, I go back out to trucking because that's what I was doing. So I'm trucking and stuff, and eventually one thing leads to another, and I moved from that job, and I moved to another job up here back in this wonderful state. So now I'm based about an hour from where my home was.
Yep.
As far as like my childhood home and stuff. So I'm commuting up there, but back and forth with the semi without the trailer. So I'm living outside the semi on my days off. And then helping my dad. So I'm pretty much moving out of there and stuff like that. But I still have a couple things down there. So eventually I end up making the decision to go get, and to make make a living quarters and stuff like that locally and everything. So now I'm living close by, and 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 so part of the deal was that I detransition. So in a sense, go back to being my father's son.
If you were going to be there,
Yes.
if you were going to have that was kind of the requirement.
Yes.
And at that point, you were kind of broken. I mean, not broke, maybe, but broken inside. Like, is that right, or just?
I have been broken or at this time, I have been broken for a very long
time.
Because I moved away from family. I moved away from my network. I moved away from anything and everything I knew. Moved from the country to the city.
Yeah.
Well, moved from the country to the town to the city.
Yeah.
And I'm a country person through and through. And so living inside the city, it's nice to have a 5-minute commute to Walmart. It's better to have like a 2-minute commute to pretty much almost any restaurant. Maybe not but maybe not 2 minutes, but it's not 15 minutes just to get to town.
Yeah.
And stuff to where the fast food joints are, restaurants are, and stuff like that, and whatnot.
So you start going to church then.
And that was part of the
deal too.
Right.
You were going to go to church.
Which I didn't have no problem with. And so it's a new pastor, and stuff like that. And I've heard wonderful things before this about this pastor who's currently a pastor and
a great guy.
Oh, yes.
You go back to the church you're raised in.
Correct.
And all of a sudden it's different now. And do you feel, all of a sudden you've kind of moved your life to, you're at a spot where you're kind of saying, okay, what is next for me? What is God going to do in my life? I'm here.
Yeah.
What's God going to do in my life? Right.
Yes.
And you start talking to the pastor, you start talking to people, start pouring into your life. Right.
Yes. And so when my dad's pouring in my life, when my sisters, and my brother, which I kind of watched when my nieces and nephews grow up, but really didn't watch them grow up. I wasn't there for the birthdays, wasn't there for the ball games and stuff. So now I'm able to start going to the baseball games. I'm able to start going to soccer games and stuff like that. I'm able to start going to their, plays and stuff like that. So now I'm actually starting to be able to be uncle again, which when my first nephew, or and the first one of my family's kids was born, we had a decision to make, and what I'm going to be called. Am I going to be called Uncle Steven or whatever? Because by this time I'm not even in the transition point.
Sure.
But I was going down to Newark to be a power lineman. Ended up getting a job with the telephone company, and so I was climbing up and down the poles like a monkey. So I was climbing around like a monkey. So Uncle and Monkey got sandwiched together and ended up coming up with Unky Monkey. Yes.
Is that's what they call you today? Is Unky Monkey?
Yeah. Yeah. So my 15-year-old nephew, even to this day, I was out in the woods with him today, because today was thankfully and blessedly the first day of gun season.
Okay.
And so forth with it. In fact, before I came in here, he actually got a buck.
There you go.
It's not very big, but hey,
he got one.
Yeah. And so he got himself a buck, and he was proud of himself, and I was proud of him because it was a good sized carcass and stuff like that. So he's able to be like what I used to be, was able to help feed the family and help provide for the family, but also able to learn the kind of the basic fundamentals of being a man.
Yeah.
Of providing for the family, being the leader, being the provider.
So you helped your nephew today take that step in manhood.
Yes, but it was not really me. I was just there after the fact.
Yeah.
But my brother-in-law was there with him.
With him.
Yeah. So his dad was able to be there, and he was shooting at other deer, and they ended up getting this one, and
that's awesome.
Yeah.
You start going to church. When did this? And I know, I caught wind of you because there was a missions trip you wanted to go on, and so you end up going. The church is loving on you.
Yes.
Do you start to sense a change is happening in your life?
I do. I am still in this midst of finding my identity, finding my true identity, trying to understand what my last several years has been about and what's been work. And everything I come up with has been nothing. I haven't been living for the Lord. I've been very, very selfish in my actions. Really don't have nothing to prove for my hard labor. Been very, very mismanaged for my finances and my relationships and stuff like that. And really doing no works of God. So my dad's been on several mission trips and stuff like that, and he told me about them. And my sister's been on a couple mission trips now and stuff, and they tell me about how the mission trip changed them and how and how much work they've done and stuff, whatnot. So the year prior, I do believe that they went to Jerusalem, and I could not. And I would actually get bugged and irritated from hearing about Jerusalem.
Okay.
Because I'm like, I would never go there because I have bad knees from farming and stuff like that, from other accidents and the injuries. I'm like, I couldn't sit in the plane for 14, 15 hours to fly across the ocean and stuff. I'm like, Jerusalem. I'm like, yeah. I know it's the Holy Land, stuff like that, but just stop talking about life. Let's for 1 minute talk about something else. But they were just all happy and good going about it. And even to this day, that's one of their
top trips.
Yeah. It's not their favorite trip.
So they talk about it so much that all of a sudden you go, hey, maybe I want to do that. Or was it more, did your dad push you? Was it?
No. My dad actually got the letter because the way it's done here locally is that the previous mission team gets first chance at going.
Okay.
Following you. Whether that's right or wrong, it is what it is at the moment. And still to this day. And whatnot. So they get first dibs at going. And well, lo and behold, it was to Maui. I'm like, well, that's a destination right there. Let's go. I'm like, well,
it's not Jerusalem, it's Maui.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, that's Hawaii. That's the ocean. Like, we're going to be able to go see the ocean. We're going to be able to, to go down and see palm trees. And this is going to be a wonderful trip. So I go up on one Sunday and I go up to the leader of it. And I said, to the person, I said, I know that you're all going to Hawaii. Is there any room for me? And she was taken back a little, just a sort of a little moment. And you know her, and know her well enough that she's very, very, very quick with her responses, whether it be a good one or or if she's joking around and everybody's joking around. Sure. And she's very, very, very fast on the ball with coming back with some type of response. And so she's like, well, at the moment, everything's full. I'll put you on the list, and we'll see what we can do. And just to see what happens. I'm like, okay, that's fair enough. I can't ask for no more. So she starts praying. And I'm not knowing about this. And I'm probably going to get into a couple things that you may not even know. But you may, I don't know. So, and I said she begins to pray about it. And I don't know nothing about her praying about it. Hey, I'm thought, if everything's full, like everybody's going. Like if you paid, a few $1,000s to go. Sure. Other than for some odd reason, because of health reasons, or just something happens at work where you can't leave, or there's something major happens in somebody's life, they're going. I'm like, well, I'm not going, so I'm just continuing my life. At the time, I'm working at McDonald's. I'm not getting much money, and stuff. I'm like, I can't afford to go. And I even told this person that. I said, I can't really pay to go, but I'm sure if God wants me to go, he'll provide a way. But of course, everything's full, can't do nothing. She prays about it, and I'm living my life. All of a sudden, I'm being called up to my sister's house after like a Sunday night. And I'm like, why in the world am I being called because I'm up in the barn feeding cattle at the moment. And I'm like, well, give me a chance to, just go home, get changed, I'll come up. Well, here's this leader up there for the, and for the mission trip, and she's there at my sister's house. I'm like, this is really, 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 really weird. But I'm like, well, I've been called up by my sister, so older sister, you do what you get asked. And at the time, I don't know at the time if my dad knew what was going on or not, but I think he did, but I'm not sure. So there's the leader down in the basement of my sister's house, and she gives me a big hug, and she's like, God had answered prayers. Let me tell you. I'm like, okay, that's great. Not really putting no second thought into it, not really understanding how miraculous our Lord and Savior is. And before the trip, really didn't really fully understand how miraculous our Lord and Savior is. And she's like, Steven, I know you haven't changed your name. And I know that, there's a lot of complications with that because I'm still, Sarah, I'm still, living my life as much as I possibly can as female. They're mainly behind closed doors.
Sure.
And out into public. As far as like I'm not, like I'm not wearing like dresses to Walmart. I'm not wearing dresses to the restaurant, not like that. And I'm definitely not wearing hardly nothing really, really feminine at church. But I don't have no male clothing. Well, but by this time, my dad had blessed me with taking me to a local place. I had pants and stuff like that. So I'm going out there, and she's like, I prayed and prayed and prayed about you. And I talked to several of the leaders and everything. And in fact, one of the people dropped out from going, and somebody from a different state, don't even know you, but God had put it on their heart to come talk. Well, and that they knew somebody at the local church, didn't know what was going on,
Wow.
didn't know the circumstances, didn't know the situation, didn't know about me going up to the leader, asking to go, nothing. Didn't know nothing about it. But this person in a completely different state called this person, says, for some reason I have had on my heart to call you to ask you if someone local to you, and I feel like there's someone local to you that I need to bless what's going on to some type of trip or something. And lo and behold, this person goes up to the leader, says, yeah, I have a person that just a day or two before the person dropped out, I'm trying to find a way to get this person to go on the mission trip. And lo and behold, here's this person from a different state contact somebody else to contact the person.
How God works, isn't it?
And to contact the leader saying, hey, the funds are here.
Yeah.
And so so everything's paid for. Like I don't, and so I didn't send, so I didn't give nobody a cent for this trip. Somehow, so this person's like, hey, we all really should go to the district assembly and stuff because, and so forth. So anyhow, so we get to the district assembly here and whatnot. And of course, I found out that you allowed me to go and was able to, and then you gave the local pastor, you gave the leader just the perfect bright green light. Like, hey, like if they're wanting to go, why are we here to stop them?
Yeah.
If they're here to work for,
and from my perspective, Stephen, and for everybody that's watching that doesn't know, there's another role that I have that where I kind of had to kind of speak into some of this, and as a district superintendent, and I remember thinking, if you want to go, the best thing for you is to be around people that love Jesus.
Right.
Best thing for you is just to be around people that know you that have known you for some years that want the best for you. Like that's a great environment.
Yeah.
And the truth is that ought to be the way it is in every church.
Correct.
Where a church wants the best in Christ, wants the best for somebody. But it's kind of like your nephew. How's he gonna know how to shoot a gun if somebody doesn't show him?
Right.
How's he gonna know not to get lost in the woods if somebody doesn't lead him?
Right.
And so I was so excited that all of those circumstances culminated in you going, and you went, and it was a life-changing experience for you. And at that point, you still legally had the name Sarah, correct?
Right. And everything was still feminine, like everything on my license, everything. And so I'm like, well, how are we going to navigate this? And so they was like, well, we'll get through it. And so they end up coming up saying, hey, your plane ticket and everything legally has to say and reflect your current license. Well, they were trying to get me to change my name right down there, and I didn't realize that laws had changed, and it's easier to do that now than it was. So
they were talking about changing your name.
Yeah.
And you were like, well, I've been through that process. That's a hard process.
Yeah. And so at the time, but at the time I haven't fully committed to Jesus. I haven't fully committed to the Lord. I haven't, well, actually, I have fully, no, I have so how should I say this? Okay, so my dad went to college with a friend of his, and he's a pastor down around the southeast corner of Ohio here, down around Dayton and stuff. So I call him, and he gives me this verse, which I wish I knew the verse. But it talks about like no man shall lay with another man, no woman shall lay with another woman, no person shall put on opposite. Pretty much overall clothes, and put on the opposite sex clothes. So like no man will wear feminine clothing, no female wearing men's clothing.
Yeah,
I'm sure you know what verse I'm talking about and stuff. So at that moment, he said, "Look up this Bible verse and call me back." At the time, I'm still driving a truck, and semis. And so I look up this verse. And so I call him back. I said, "All right, I read the verse. It is black and white. Like I cannot find any way, shape, or form." And I have always tried to find loopholes. Even as a little kid, I would always try to find loopholes. Even to this day, I still try to find loopholes, whether it's for my better good or not. I'm trying not to do it if it's not for my better good. So I try to find loopholes to as least as I can, but I still find them. But anyhow, so I'm trying to find a loophole of saying, well, what I'm doing is still correct, and what I'm doing is it's still not really against God. No, not in this verse. This verse is black and white. I cannot find any way, shape, or form to come back with any type of rebuttal of, well, what I'm doing is okay. So I'm like, all right, well, I cannot argue with this. I cannot find anything I cannot find nothing wrong with the first to contradict of how I'm living my life. So I said, all right, well, this is where I'm at. This is what I've been doing. And what I've been doing is sinful, and I'm going to go to hell for it, most likely. So how can I change that? So he gave me a normal, here's how you accept the Lord. You do this prayer and repeat after me type thing. So I do that. He said, give me a call in about an hour. So I get off the phone with him. I said, well, I said, hey, and Dad's pulling up here, and I got to go talk with him. He said, all right, call me back in about an hour, and then if you can. So I show him the verse. Well, once again, I tell him the same thing I told this one college friend. I said, I cannot find in nowhere, shape, or form that I can rebuttal against this. And so I tell him that I'm changing my life. I'm going to live my life more for the Lord and stuff like that, which helped me get where I'm at now. I mean, as far as like living situations, stuff like that.
Sure.
But a couple of days later, I fall back into the same realm. But so anyhow, so fast forward, I'm now accepted to go on this trip by what I could only imagine the highest low level within the church organization locally. I'm allowed to go, but of course I'm able to go, and we're supposed to go because oh Lord made it happen. Like legitimately made everything fall right into place.
Sure.
And so now it comes down to the thing of what do you want us to call you? I said, well, I want you to call me Sarah, but at the same time, I can't force people that have known me since I was born, because the leaders have known me since I was born.
Sure.
And I'm trying to think, besides my dad, only might have been one other person, well, not that's known me ever since I was born, but still, or even at a young age, there's a couple more people
Sure.
that could probably pick up in that mess. But I said, I'm not going to go against the Nazarene faith and Nazarene beliefs and stuff like that. So, but other than that, it was Steven and so forth. Well, and even the place where we were going, they knew of the situation. They made arrangements for my own private room, which was more than I would. I would bless more than I should have been. Even going on the trip, I would bless more than I should have been.
It's another way God was taking care of you.
Right.
Yeah.
And stuff. But I was actually rooming within the same building as, actually it was kind of like this building here, which the followers can't see, but but it was like the church office, which this obviously isn't a church office, but anyhow, so I was in the room inside inside the church, which is pretty much like a house.
Yeah.
And so forth. So, so then there's a couple congregation members and leaders out in on the main room, and then a couple other people in their own private rooms because of health reasons or whatever. And so I'm doing my thing, and I get, and I'm starting getting sick. Well, and so forth. So I'm like, well, somebody paid me to go, come down here and work. Now I'm sick, and now I feel bad because I'm not working very much because because I'm trying to take care of myself. But I'm trying to do as much as I can and stuff like that. Well, one guy comes down with COVID, and it's just a nightmare for health reasons and on that aspect. But God changed me throughout that trip. I come back and stuff, and everything's going well and whatnot. And before my next trip, I went on
the next year.
Yeah. Well, this year, I got baptized on Easter Sunday. Kind of spur of the moment thing. But I'm like, you know what? I'm ready to be baptized. And truth be told, the main, and how the main, and how the decision of me getting baptized came about was because my youngest nephew was being baptized. I think we baptized over 20 people that day, which was amazing. But I'm like, well, do I do it now, before I have the surgery and stuff like that, or do I do it after everything's done? He's like, that's kind of like a personal thing you have to figure out with the Lord. Well, I was prepared to be baptized. And I will probably, and after my surgery and everything's done, I'll probably get rebaptized and have no jokes and nothing chained to it. But when I'm telling you, but when I'm going to get baptized, if I had it my own way, not really my own way, but if I was able to pick my place of being baptized, when I was getting baptized, by who, and I was able to design my own baptism, but in God's way to, I mean, and having the full, and I mean the full focus on
Sure.
this is the life I desire, which I do desire to have, or I've changed. I have had all the, like I have no more female clothing. I have no more implants. I have no more this, no more that. Nothing that was connected to my previous behaviors, my previous lifestyle is connected to me at this point. Let's go get baptized. Well, if you've been down around my dad's farm, which I don't think you have, I would love to bring you down to it. It's a beautiful place. But it's down along the Hacodian River, which is a scenic river within Ohio. And there's probably about a mile of river.
You'd like to be baptized there, probably.
And and before the previous the previous music director, he ended up leaving and going somewhere else. But I was going to have him use his drones, use all these big cameras, and it would then have the song of "I Walk Down to the River." And then
Sure.
Yeah, I forget how that song goes exactly, but having that playing, but having me and the pastor walk side by side, followed by like my family, my immediate family, and then the people who had really been close to me within the church community and stuff like that, follow in behind them, and then the drum comes over, and then all the
you're perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, but then have it played, but have it recorded so it can be played up on the big screen.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Up at the church, and I'll be up on the, up there while it's being played, because we all love, because we all love our own voices and watching ourselves on video. I mean, I don't, but I'm sure other people do. But anyhow, but I would be up there, saying, hey, this is what I really will.
This is what God's done in my life.
Be like, hey, this is me now, and stuff. That would be my ultimate. Is it going to happen? Don't know, but it would not be anytime soon because it's too cold.
The river would be a little cold right now.
Yeah.
So, but you got baptized.
Yes, I did get baptized, and in the moment, even still to this day, I had the intentions on following Christ and the Lord, which I still do, and I did, but not having the full relinquishment.
I feel like your transformation is not yet complete.
Correct.
Yeah, that you're not back to the way God created you.
Correct.
Yet, right?
Which I'll still never be back there because I'll have the wounds.
Correct.
And the and not the wound, but but all the cut marks and stuff like that. So it won't be like I was born, but I'll be as close enough as I can be, or humanly can be at the moment.
Sure. Yeah. Well, there is an aspect too of freedom in being new in Christ that lightens your spirit, that lightens your load. That is, I feel released. I feel free. I feel able to laugh and have a perspective or a good time. I get that too.
Yes.
But that was a monumental moment for you, being baptized. And since that baptism, you've changed your name back?
I have changed my name legally back. Everything reflects male on my license. Everything, also, so I had to go. Oh, this was an ordeal, huh? So the one place would tell me to go to this next place. Well, so like the DMV would tell me to go to the Social Security office. Well, the Social Security office told me to go to the DMV. Well,
so it's supposed to be easier.
And so eventually I had to go get my name changed. Well, to get my name changed, I had to go to the doctors and to the therapists and stuff to say, oh yeah, well, I'm mentally in the same mindset of like I am knowing what this is all going to lead to and stuff. I had to go get all that paperwork to go get to the courthouse to go get my name changed back to go get my name changed on my on my license and my social security card And then I had to go through a whole another process to get the F turned into an M on my license.
So I can't imagine that, Stephen. But there was so much of so much work that goes into all of that, going one way or the other. What I want people to catch from your story and from your life is so just talk to me briefly, and then we'll land the plane here.
Yeah.
Talk to me briefly about if you were giving advice to somebody that's struggling with their identity, what would you say to them?
Pray, 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 pray. Go find as many Christian people as you can, but also be wary of Christian people who may lead you down the wrong path. Find very strong religious leaders like yourself and pastors and stuff like that. Find a church that has a pastor, that has a and a church staff that has a mindset to better the youth, to better yourself, to better the community.
And go ahead. No, go ahead.
But that is all Christ-centered.
Yeah, that's good.
And that they're not out to make. And that the people who are on the church staff, the church board, which you really won't know the church board till you really get until you really get into the church. But find a church, online or not, but find a church that does not have a pastor, a senior pastor, associate pastor, a youth pastor, a worship leader, children pastor. That's not there because it's a career. Find the people who are there
because they love you.
Because they love you, they love the community, but they also want you to go get the next one.
Yeah, that's good. It's interesting, and for everybody watching, listen. I want to just call out the way that Mount Vernon First Church loved on you.
Oh yes,
the way Joe Proudfoot did, the way, and the way that they have continually taken steps to show Christ's love to you.
Yes,
it's been life transforming for you, hasn't it? To have a safe space that you feel like you could learn and grow from and become really who God created you to be.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
So you would say pray. I would like to add that, man, you're right, because you said it, a staff, a pastor that love Jesus, that love you, and to listen to the right voices, right? Because there's a lot of noise out in the world, but the goal is to listen to the right voice.
Correct.
Right? And that's why prayer is so important, because when we align ourselves in prayer, God through his Spirit starts to, and there's a great verse that I quote all the time if anybody's ever listened to this podcast or watched it, James 1:5, if you lack wisdom, ask God, he gives it generously.
Yes.
Right? That when we truly seek the face of God, God does something. And because you even indicated in your story, I got told one thing, and because of that, I thought, I'm good. But it led me down a path that wasn't what God intended for your life.
Correct.
And then all of a sudden, God brings you full circle back. And I loved how you articulated, I was living a selfish life. Look where it got me.
It got me nowhere.
Yeah.
It got me to being homeless, being jobless on multiple occasions. And even to this day, I still have some problems with that. But I'm getting a lot better. But ultimately, not living a life for salvation.
Yeah.
Not living a life that's going to get me into a healthy place and, for my forever home and all of our homes.
Yeah.
And stuff. And I also want to add to the prayer as well. Don't just pray, but also there's a lot of thrift stores, especially around me, because I love going to finding a good deal. Who doesn't? There's so thrift stores, and you can find them. They're everywhere. But find the ones that are faith-based, that has a faith-based mission, most of those places will have donated Bibles, donated Christian resources that are completely free. You can pick up a Bible and walk out the door and not
That's good.
pay for anything. You can walk in there, grab a Bible, and walk out.
That's good.
And one day I did that, and I gave the Bible. And I gave the Bible to another person, and I kept the cover because it came with the cover that I really liked. But I gave the Bible to somebody else. I'm hoping that it's being used for good, because I don't know how couldn't. But not to pray, but go and talk to these Christian people, listen what they're saying,
Read the Bible,
and back it up with what they're saying with the Bible, because the Bible is God's word. Now, I know a lot of people, and I even have said to myself and thought about it, that the Bible has been written by so many people and so many books, and then transcribed so many times, and in so many different languages, let alone translations, and even the own translations have their own, like, throughout the years. The words the facts don't change. The truth is the truth, and you can go from one Bible to the next Bible. It may not say word for word, but everything's right there. Everything's true.
Yeah. And you're finding out it's true, aren't you?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And, sometimes the truth hurts, because you live in, like myself, living a life of lies and sins. Back to back, every single day, multiple times a day, actually many times a day.
So you're at a spot where you're learning and growing.
Yes.
You're working on having the last surgery, maybe.
Yeah.
Complete that process back.
Yeah. Which we're actually about almost a month, not quite a month, a little bit over from my consultation.
Okay. So it's coming up.
Yes, coming up.
And you've got this new birth, new life, newfound purpose, and God is your God. God is working in your life. And you see, I loved how you said, look, I still got my struggles or issues, but I'm getting better. God's working. And I want to say, everybody that's watching this, everybody that's going to watch this, Steven, is going to go, they're all going to cheer for you.
Oh, yeah.
They're all going to go, we want this for you. We want to see God do this great work in your life.
Yes.
And the cool thing for me, I'd heard about you, hadn't met you.
Right.
So that one Sunday when you came and introduced yourself to me, it made my day to see what God had done, to see how God was leading you. And I just want to say, from my side of this thing, man, keep at it. I know you're going to go on more missions trips. Go do it with God's help. And the word says we comfort others with the comfort we've received. So just keep doing it. Keep doing it. Watch how God uses you. And God's going to use this story to change somebody's life. I know it.
Oh, yeah.
And God's going to use you even more in the days ahead.
And then that Sunday this year, after my trip, you came in and when I was talking, and I'm like, and look who's coming in a month. And I was so excited to see you, because it's been a year since I seen you, or two. I think that was actually over 2 years, or just right around 2 years, something like that. And since I seen you, that day where we was at the district assembly on the day for the mission trip thing and stuff like that. And since then, I was excited to see you. Was more excited to be like, hey, do you remember that long hair hippie looking person? that wasn't correct and stuff like that. That was living a life of lot sin and stuff.
Because I had seen you, but I hadn't met you.
Yeah. Well, and we met that day, but then this year, I'm saying when you came back.
Yeah. I know what you.
And down in the sanctuary, I came up to you and your wife, And like, hey, do you remember me? And you kind of gave me that look of,
I did.
Kind of, but not really.
Yeah.
So I told you,
And then I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah. And then your eyes got, that's a bad, and just as big as a deer in the headlight look.
Yeah.
And and just the smile but also the tears that came down your face not because you're sad, not,
I'm so glad for what God done.
And because of just the works of God. And the works of the Lord.
Amen.
And everything. But for the listeners along with yourself, as much as you're cheering me on, I'm cheering myself on just as much. But at the same time, as we talked before beginning, I had mine when I sat back here lately.
Yeah.
And it scared me. And it got me to the Lord even more.
Yeah.
And so I want the listener mainly to know that you may get baptized, and that's great and all, and I'm proud of and I'm happy for you. But also, don't beat yourself up because you have a setback. Don't beat yourself up because you fall short of the Lord, because we're all fall short of the Lord clear up to the day we die, because we're not perfect. We're not ever going to be perfect.
That's good.
But pray about it.
It's good.
Ask for forgiveness because He's going to give it to you. And of all people, I got it. I got the blessing for forgiveness. I actually felt the forgiveness coming over me. I felt the calmness. I felt the peace. I felt
it's so good.
And felt the understanding. In fact, Wendell, that next day, when my dad was bragging to his Sunday school group, which like half of them go on mission trips, and pretty much about 75% of the people who's in the Sunday school group had watched me since I was a baby, grow up through the church and stuff like that. He was bragging because I was coming to record this, but also of the accomplishments I've done throughout my life. Just within the last 2 years of how far it came and how much more Christ-centered my life is.
Love it.
I may not be right on the dot, but I'm over here wandering around somewhere and stuff. But I'm getting there. And I'm getting closer. And and the more I talk about the Lord, the more I share my testimony, the more, I'm in life tonight, the more excited I get, the more happier I get. And the anxiety, the fear, the depression, the desire to wear women's clothing, and all that stuff, it's out the window immediately.
Yeah.
And I start talking about the Lord and stuff like that. But as Pastor has said, and multiple people, what you fill your life up with every day is what you're gonna pour out. The more you read the Bible, the more you go to church, the more you live a Christ-centered life, the better your life is going to be. I just lost my job. Do I have depression? No. Do I have anxiety? Kind of. Because now I'm like, well, how am I going to pay bills? But at the same time, I know God's going to give me something else.
Yeah.
But it's going to be on His time.
And you have a hope. You have a hope.
Yes.
That literally it's not held to what the world's standard of hope is. You have something inside of you, which is a power. It's the Spirit of Christ that's growing.
Yes.
That is pointing away, that's giving you strength in weakness, that's giving you peace in worry,
yes.
That's giving you joy in turmoil, and God is doing this work. I had this thought that I just want you to, in case you hadn't noticed, I had this thought about your dad.
Okay.
So as a father, we're supposed to be a picture of our Heavenly Father. When your dad got the news, he ran after you.
Yes.
Came after you. He knocked on the door. When you came back to him, he said, I'll accept you, but it's got to be at my standards. It's got to be, there's a rule here.
Yes.
Which is what Jesus does to us here. But we got to take care of that sin issue in your life. And I just want you to, in case I wanted to celebrate your dad, and then your dad's at church bragging on you,
yes.
Which is what Jesus does to the Father when we make those right decisions. And I just wanted you to catch how much your dad has been a picture of Christ's love in your life, and not to miss that. And he's been such a great picture of your Heavenly Father. Again, everybody's got their faults. Everybody's got, but he's been a picture of that in your life. And that baseline has given you legs to stand on to say, God is going to do this. And I'm on a journey, and God's going to continue to lead. So Thank you for taking some time today.
Oh, yeah. I messed up a lot of times in my life. And you know what? I'm also doing better. I'm doing good work for the Lord. Yeah, I may mess up from time to time, but I'm still doing the works of the Lord. And even in the Bible, Moses gets to go to heaven and stuff like that. So even though through my own tragedies, I can still triumph them with the help of the Lord, and only with the help of the Lord.
Yep.
And with guidance from other Christians and like-minded people, can I have guidance along with the Lord. But your tragedy is not going to be the end, and it's not going to be the definition of your life. I want you to know that and what you're going through and your issues and stuff like that. You can, if I can do it, you can do it. Do it as well.
That's good. I don't think we need to say any more. May God bless you, and may you always find the triumph that God offers to each of us. It's only found in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
Americans have a big healthcare problem. Over 100 million citizens carry medical debt while spending on overpriced and complicated health insurance. As Christians, we don't have to pay for a broken system. Christian Healthcare Ministries is a faith-based alternative to health insurance at half the cost. Plus, you can enroll at any time. Stand up to insurance and join CHM today.